Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Thursday and I'm 28 years old for the first day. In 2 years I'll be 30 and in 2 years I'll be losing my hair and then I'll be welcoming all of the receding hairline jokes from you. In fact, put them under this video already. I haven't had my daily dose of receding or balding hairline for a long time. I invite you to do that. But I want to start your day off, or end your day, I don't know where you're coming from, but I want to show you NOAA Report's post about how Russians are really going crazy about their anti-kamikaze drone protection. I mean, look at this. This looks like to be a digger vehicle, but it's some kind of a armored recon vehicle or armored personnel carrier with lighter armor, but it's obviously not enough. So they have installed an insane amount of anti-kamikaze drone netting. And also in front you can see that, the chains here, what are they supposed to do? If they're for anti-mine purposes, they should reach the ground, but they don't. So I guess they're just for like Mad Max effect to look cool. Honestly though, about the practicality of this, I have to say, they do work. Otherwise, the Russians wouldn't use them. They look stupid, but they're quite cheap and easy to fix on the cars. And they do work. After the first blast, at least, the car is not damaged, but the second blast comes through. So it adds just another kamikaze drone necessary to take out this vehicle. But it does look funny. It looks stupid, it looks horrendous, and Mad Max Fury Road or whatever you call it. Look at this turtle. It's like the Korean turtle ship, only 1,000 years later. My friends, I'll bring you a Finnish general right now. The Finnish are at it again. You know, they're in NATO now, and the long pushed down beef with the Russians can flame again. You know, after the Winter War and the continuation war, there was a peace between Finland and the Soviet Union and then Finland and Russia. But now the grandfathers who have always said to their Finnish grandchildren like, I don't like the Russians, hey, away, you shouldn't be friends. Now they can fully be proud because Finland is true to its nature again. I'll bring you Finnish Major General Harri Ohra-aho on Russia's decision to move ballistic missiles closer to the Finnish border. And I quote now. He says, of course, it's none of my business, but operationally it seems absurd to bring missile systems with such a long range close to our border. They make easy targets for us. Now, this is a Finnish army general. Finnish army is a reservist army. Although, yes, it is the biggest and most powerful artillery force in Europe, they dwarf next to Russian army with almost anything, and still the general has balls of steel saying, yeah, my Russian friends, bring them closer. They make so easy targets for us. I respect that a lot. If you are from Finland, kiitos. Kiitos very much. And I'm not yet done with the Finnish in this video. This next title or news is called Hugo Boss has announced its exit from Russia, but it is connected very much to the Finnish, and you'll find out very soon. German fashion house Hugo Boss has agreed with the Russian government to sell its Russian business to a wholesale partner, Stockmann. Stockmann. What is this Stockmann? Well, my friends, what you see here, it's Tallinn, where I live right now. I see this store every day. It's a Finnish brand, huge conglomerate, and they have a store in Tallinn. It's a very famous store in Tallinn. Everybody knows it. Everybody goes there. So it operates in Russia. What the hell? So I started digging deeper. The deal will end with Hugo Boss' presence in Russia more than 2 years after it suspended operations in the Russian Federation. Hugo Boss did not disclose the financial terms of the deal. The Kremlin requires foreign companies to sell their Russian assets at a discount of 50%. So if you want to exit Russia as a Western company, you are forced by the Kremlin to sell it to Russian businesses at half the price. This is blackmail or straight out theft. But this is Russia, that's how they do things. The weird part is, the irony of the destiny, of course, is that Hugo Boss was the one who made uniforms for the soldiers and officers of the Third Reich, Germany, right? And now we have another fascist country, which is Russia. And Hugo Boss is like, nah, I don't want to go through that again. I'm gonna exit. That's my cue to leave. But my friends, let's for a moment go back to Finland and Stockmann, because Stockmann is a Finnish-owned clothing store, whatever you call it, and here it is written in Kirillitsa. And Stockmann in Russia to open 16 new stores nationwide in 2023. So after the war, they're still opening new stores. Now, what's up with it? What's up with it? I will tell you. Stockmann ended their business. The Finnish don't like the Russians at all. In Finland, a Russian in Finnish language is a swear word. It's a curse word. Russu or venäläs. I don't know how to say it, but I know it's a curse word. They already started to end their business in Russia with Stockmann after 2014. So when the whole world and Europe and USA were sleeping on the occupation of Crimea, the Finnish were already reacting, ending their businesses in Russia. The thing is, the deal with Stockmann in Russia was the Russian company had a right to use the name Stockmann up until 2028, because that's how the contract was signed, and they are basically holding it hostage in Russia. Yes, the Finnish company might want to leave, but the contract is signed. Hey, we have 5 more years, baby, we're gonna use it. That's what they do. Stockmann operates in Russia, although against the will of the Finnish owners of the company. So Russians are keeping it hostage, not letting it leave, and actually opening new stores. And now it's the situation where Hugo Boss, a former clothing company who clothed the fascists, is now pulling out because it doesn't want to work with the fascists. Now in Russia there is Stockmann, which is 1 kilometer from where I'm right now in Estonia. Also, it's also operating in Russia against the will of the owners who are in Finland. That is the weird story of Stockmann. My friends, the story of the Russian Deputy Defense Minister continues. I mean, this is one of the highest positions in the Russian hierarchy, but still the guy is arrested on accusations of treason or bribery. Of course, every Russian officer steals money. It's the way you do things in Russia. If you get arrested for it, that means it's a power struggle of some other guy just wants to take your place and take the money out of your hands. It's not because you stole the money from the country, but because the other guy wants your money. So somebody wants his money. You know, money works in Russia. That is everywhere. It's a capitalist system. The thing is, the Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov was brought to court, as you can see on the video also, in military uniform, full uniform, and was initially detained for 2 months. Russian media began circulating targeted claims that Ivanov is actually suspected of treason, citing sources from the FSB. However, less government-aligned Russian sources claim that this is merely an internal Kremlin power struggle of financial flows. And this is what it is. I'm calling it. If in Russia somebody gets arrested for bribery, corruption or treason, it's usually some other officer wanting to take their monetary flows to himself. That's how it works in the Russian system. But the peculiarity of this story doesn't end here. Have you heard about the Russian author Bulgakov and his book Master and Margarita? I've read the book. It's one of the most famous books in Russian literature. Of course, it's the classic. But turns out this Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov lived in the mansion from the novel The Master and Margarita in Moscow. He lived at the very same address that was in that book. Now there are searches going on there. He occupied all the floors of Anna von Meck's mansion, which was built in the 19th century. According to the researchers at Bulgakov's work, it was in the house that the master from the writer's novel lived, however, in the basement. And the tweet is a bit funny because Ivanov seems to share the fate of his favorite author and would also live in the basement, but already in the mansion of Lubyanka Street, which is a prison. So he will live in a prison cell, much like the master lived in the basement of his very own house after Bulgakov. It's a very strange coincidence, or perhaps it's not a coincidence. Perhaps Timur just really loved Bulgakov and bought the mansion with his stolen procurement money, of course. My friends, now I want to show you a news clip from Russian TV, what Russian people daily are watching. And this is a Russian bike assault going out to Ukrainian positions. I'm sure you have all seen these Ukrainian drone videos. They're filming them from above with thermal visions, showing these bikes going down below, dropping grenades on them. Well, now that's the other side. These are the guys who are down there actually assaulting the Ukrainian positions. And it's just strange to watch it that these guys are very calm and normal mannerisms. I mean, these guys, all of the guys you see in this video, they're gone. They're knocked out cold. The Ukrainian drones crushed them. But here they're going to assault. They're very happy. Camera crew is here. They have these old bikes. They're all pushing up sunflower somewhere on the Ukrainian fields right now. But this is moments before they're gone. And it's so bizarre to see that. These guys are so ready to go, to be removed from the gene pool for the Tsar with these bikes. I mean, yes, you get closer to the Ukrainian fronts, Ukrainian defensive lines with the bikes, but if the drone is up, as soon as you leave the bike, you still get the grenade up your, you know what, so it doesn't really fix anything, the bike, but it's just so strange to see these guys just before they're going to die. My friends, the German defense minister Pistorius said that the Russian military complex, according to his knowledge and intelligence reports, right now is producing more weaponry than they are losing currently in Ukraine, and that means they are getting ready for the next war. The war in Ukraine, of course, will continue for a long time because European countries and the United States have long-lasting agreements and investments in Ukraine, and they will support Ukraine for a decade at least. But Russia, possibly Putin, wants to open another front somewhere completely different. Is it going to be the Baltics, my country Estonia, maybe Finland, maybe in the Balkans, maybe in the Middle East? We don't know, maybe in Africa. But Putin and Russia, they are producing more weapons than they currently need in Ukraine. So there will be another conflict. Why I'm talking about this is that Putin clearly has a goal, a military goal, expansionist goal, and he's preparing for it very publicly. And countries in the EU are still sleeping on their soft pillows. They are not getting ready. I mean, UK is the only country who has announced that they're switching to war mode by 2030. That's 6 years from now. 2030. I mean, Putin is producing more weapons now that they're losing. And by 2030, UK's goal is 2.5% of the GDP to allocate to the military. I said it many times, I'm gonna say it again. Right now, from this day, from tomorrow, every NATO country should switch to 3% mandatory military spending right now from tomorrow. And if they cannot do that, they should borrow that money, because what use is having a small debt but being occupied by Russia? I would rather owe some more money but have my own free country, and I can pay that money back in the future. Countries are not taking Russian threats seriously. We Estonians, our military defense spending is over 3%. Poland is over 4%. We're allocating 0.25% of our country's entire GDP to Ukraine every year, in addition to the military spending. So we're doing everything we can and more than we can because we're a small country. But I am hoping and I'm waiting so much, I'm holding my breath for European nations to wake up on this. Now, my friends, we'll talk about nuclear weapons. There was a vote in the United Nations to ban the nuclear weapons in space. Yes, you heard correctly. Ban the nuclear weapons in space. Because the United States has a space force and they're allocating billions of USD for that space force. Like, really, it's not Star Wars of Reagan, it's real. The United States really has a space force with I think it was close to 10 billion of USD yearly allocated to it. So they're really doing something up there. So the UN is now voting on banning nuclear weapons in the space. And you know who vetoed it? Who voted against it? The only country. It was Russia. Of course, they don't have any hope even to keep up with the United States in the space race, much like in Reagan's Star Wars, which brought down the Soviet Union. Still, a way to show the whole world that you are the only country voting against it, it's a nuclear blackmail. Russia doesn't have the capabilities to keep up with the US, but they can vote against it, indicating that, okay, we're gonna put nuclear weapons up in space. Never going to happen. They don't have the capability. Last lunar landing that Putin issued, it was a race with India about a year ago. It failed. Russia's lunar lander crashed on the moon, and Putin was I was laughing. It was so good. But they have failed. Putin is personally a huge fan of the Soviet space program, trying to revive it in Russia right now, but they have a failure upon a failure. But now they're still voting against banning the use of nuclear weapons in space. It's a nuclear blackmail. That's all it is. Now, my friends, let's watch a video after Joe Biden signed the Ukraine aid. Congress approved it. Now, Senate approved it 2 days ago. Now, Joe Biden signed it.
I'm making sure the shipments start right away. In the next few hours, literally the few hours, we're going to begin sending in equipment to Ukraine for air defense.
In the next few hours, so immediately, hours after his signature, the first package will arrive in Ukraine because it was already ready in Poland to be dispatched, and the size of that packet is 1 billion USD. It's one of the biggest to be sent at once. The thing is, as I've said many times, it will take time to make an effect on the battlefield. It will take weeks. But yes, the first shipments of anti-aircraft missiles, which are the most important, will be sent within hours. So US is very fast on that. One of the biggest things that everybody, Ukrainians and everyone, is waiting on this packet and has been approved is the 300-kilometer range ATACMS missiles. And Russians are really much afraid of it. But now we have leaks from the United States military that these ATACMS of 300 kilometers were already sent to Ukrainians in March. And the attack of April 17th on the Junkoy airfield in Crimea, which destroyed Tu-95, the Russian nuclear-capable bomber, strategic bomber, it was done with the ATACMS of 300 kilometers. Now, this was a secret sending of these missiles that nobody knew about. So the United States is very sneaky. They're doing this 6 months, oh, we don't know if we're sending any aid. And then 2 months ago already, almost, they sent the 300-kilometer range ATACMS, which are the weapons that Russia is afraid the most. Really the most. They're so effective and so precise. And now, my friends, we are getting reports of REHI airport in Poland. I don't know how you say this. Polish, fix your names. REHI. Well, this is the biggest airport in Poland for NATO forces, and it always has been during this full-scale invasion of Ukraine. It's the airport that all of the Western aid is funneled through. The airport is exponentially increasing in numbers of American military aircraft from hour to hour. So we have shipment after shipment flying from the United States and Ramstein funneling United States munitions, anti-aircraft rockets and missiles, infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, everything to REHI airfield via Airlift. It is like the Great Berlin Airlift. It looks amazing. Everybody's reporting it. And my friends, to just show you, like, this is the ATACMS range, 3 different ranges that Ukraine has been receiving one by one. First, they got the 50 miles, which is 92 kilometers, and that changed a lot. I remember at the first year of war when they received those HIMARS, Russians had their logistics and ammunition storage points set up very close to the front lines. And when HIMARS, the 50-mile HIMARS, reached Ukraine, oh my God, the kabooms were beautiful. Daily, almost hourly, Russian ammunition depots were exploded. Then Russians pulled them back. Then Ukraine received 150-kilometer HIMARS munitions. Again, we saw explosion after explosion. Also, planes and choppers were destroyed on airfields. And now Ukraine receives 300-kilometer range HIMARS munitions. The precision is the same, only the range is bigger. All of Crimea, Sevastopol, Junkoy airfield, everything will be covered by this. This is huge, very big. HIMARS has been and will be one of the most effective weapon system at all provided by all Western countries combined. HIMARS. If anything is the Wunderwaffe, I would say it's HIMARS. It has destroyed most Russian ammunition, most Russian choppers, most Russian planes, most anything, I think. And my friends, Russian propagandists are really nervous. This is the daily Russian propaganda show, and they're really discussing with serious faces about the range of the new HIMARS that will be sent to Ukraine. They are really afraid of it. HIMARS is like the worst nightmare for you to happen if you're a Russian soldier. Everybody talks about it. Everybody sees nightmares of their being hit with HIMARS. They're afraid of that weapon system on the state level, as you can see. That fear is being put into Russian people also right now by the propagandists. So, you know, Americans have designed their weapons really greatly. Now, my friends, I want to watch a little short, funny clip with you about the American support for Ukraine. So Ukrainians are attacking one Russian oil refinery. Okay, Ukraine, that's enough escalating and hitting Russia's energy sector with Western weapons. But these are our weapons. It means that like they are hitting Russian oil refineries only with drones produced in Ukraine, which is the case.
Своєю також не
Don't use yours either, because that's also
ескалація.
escalation. But Russia is destroying our infrastructure and bombing peaceful cities every day, killing Ukrainians.
Та щодня бомбардує мирні міста, вбиваючи українців. Мені, звісно, шкода,
Yes, I'm sorry, but
це
this
ескалація.
is not escalation. What the hell? Because the United States asked Ukraine very publicly not to bombard Russian refineries because the United States is very vulnerable to fluctuations in oil price.
Вибачте, але ми боремося
Sorry, but we're fighting for our lives and we're going to
за своє
defend
життя і
ourselves.
будемо захищатись. Хіба ж вам недостатньо на
Isn't our package of powerful condolences and long-range concern enough for
нашого
you?
пакету потужних співчуттів
Oh
і
no.
війних занепокоєнь?
I just like it's throwing salt at the United States, but I just want to express deep gratitude as an Estonian for the United States for actually sending the biggest amount of aid in the world. But still, let's have humor. It's a funny clip. Let's watch it. Concern condolences.
Вони ж неефективні.
They're not
Та
effective,
безпечні.
but they're safe.
Ну добре, давайте домовимось.
Tell you
Ми
what,
вам
let's make a
надаємо
deal. We'll give you valuable information and you don't
Що
escalate.
ж, цінна інформація.
Well,
вам
valuable
надала.
information won't hurt us.
Північна Корея
North Korea, Iran, and China
допомагають Росії з озброєнням.
are aiding Russia with weapon shipment.
Що ж, дякую.
Thanks, I
Немає
guess.
питань. Для чого ще потрібно?
No problem. After all, what are allies for? Several months and destroyed oil refineries later.
Як вам не соромно, ми вже
You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. We haven't given you aid for half a
надаємо вам
year.
допомоги. А ви продовжуєте
But you continue to escalate and fight for your survival? What?
своє існування. Що ж, нарешті
Well, we finally managed to reach an agreement in
в
Congress,
Конгресі, і ми готові виділити вам.
and we're ready to give you military aid.
Дякую, ваша підтримка.
Thank you. Your support will save many lives,
Хоча могла б рятувати.
although it could have saved more.
Так, але
Yes, but promise not to escalate by attacking oil refineries in
що
Russia.
не будете ескалірувати та атакувати нафтопереробні заводи в Росії. Не хвилюйтесь.
Don't worry, Russian refineries are completely safe. Moscow is burning. I like that cartoon. It's fun cartoon. My friends, now I will butcher to oblivion, to orbit. I will knock out cold or push up sunflowers of these Buy Me a Coffee monthly members. If you want your name to be butchered to oblivion, to space, join the United States Space Force, become a member, monthly member of Buy Me a Coffee, and you'll hear your name said in a way that you have never heard in your worst nightmares. Martin Halma, Gary Taylor, David Thompson, G. Alexander Nix, Philip, Kelly Lenz, Alan M. Ogilvie, William Lanning, Peter Stroslashier, David Bradley Blackvelder. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to these monthly Buy Me a Coffee members. And now, my friends, I'll guide you to REHIstore.com. There's also a video explaining all about my new platform. It's a completely new Ukraine aid platform. Go and explore it, have fun. We poured a lot of time. Half a year we were building it. Cue the platform video right now. And until my tomorrow's video, my friends, Slava Ukraini and bye-bye. My friends, we at the REHI team have taken the next huge step in Ukraine aid operations. The operation is public at rehiartur.com. I'll walk you through it. On rehiartur.com, you have two options. By clicking on REHI Store, you can discover a whole new clothing brand called REHI, and you can see the page on the screen and in the description below. There are two collections, REHI and Ukraine Classics. I wanted to give you a way to show your mindset through the designs you wear, and thus REHI was born. You can show your support for the freedom of the Ukrainian nation by wearing the most iconic designs connected to the Ukrainian fight for independence. For example, with love from Ukraine or in HIMARS with trust. If you wish to go more conservative, then REHI collection is for you. The REHI brand stands for what I stand for, the freedom of one's nation to determine their own fate. By the way, you can even surprise your companion with a gift card for a present. Okay, that was scary, starting my first clothing brand. But that's not all. On rehiartur.com, we can click on Artur's Army to go to artursarmy.com. Whole new Ukraine aid platform. You can see that Artur's Army has delivered close to $500,000 worth of equipment to Ukraine. And if you scroll down, you can see 3 operations to contribute to: drones, vehicles, and humanitarian aid for those who wish to help Ukrainian orphans. All delivered drones and vehicles show up if you scroll down even more. As you can see, Ukrainian victory loading is in progress. You can click on read more to any of the 3 missions to find out more information about the specifics and past successes. My friends, I'll go through the checkout with you. For example, let's pick drones and let's click donate. It guides us to this really cool checkout page. Contribution for the purpose. You can choose multiple categories. The summary will be shown down below. For example, one cheap kamikaze drone costs 1,000 USD. So if you click 1,000, it's 1 tank destroyed. If you click 500, it's 0.5 tanks destroyed. And if you play around with this one right here, you get the exact number of tanks destroyed. We're talking about Russian tanks demilitarized, of course. This is the most cost-efficient and fastest way to knock the occupiers out cold. Now, if you're finished with drones and you want to add something more to your cart, click vehicles, and one vehicle costs 15,000 USD, so you can choose your own amount or play around with this one here to choose a smaller amount, and you can see it translates immediately. You can fill out your entire cart like that. Or humanitarian aid, we will be delivering laptops to Ukrainian orphans so they can continue learning and their education path. If you have chosen everything, you can do the checkout by PayPal or credit card, which is Stripe, and boom, that's how easy it is. I will be creating footage, images and videos. I'll be putting all of the convoys on my YouTube channel, on my Buy Me a Coffee page, on everywhere. So you can see that your money is put in perfect use in the most efficient and fastest way possible. Your skills and expertise can be used for Ukrainian victory, so join Artur's Army. For that, there is a form to fill out, and that's it. We will be in touch when we have a mission for you. My friends, together we will bring Ukraine to victory. Slava Ukraini!